this year's Hall of Fame inductees, Ivan Koloff is actually going to be part of the Legacy Hall of Fame.
Interesting.
Dory Funk Sr., as well as James Harris, who we all know as Pop Quiz, James Harris. Hang on.
My brain just went down.
Come on, chat. James
I
Harris,
know,
hang on, give
I know.
chat 10 seconds. Chat, who is James Harris? He's going into the Hall of Fame in the Legacy wing. Hang on.
My encyclopedia brain just ping.
Bro, I'm amazed that you figured it out because I would not have figured it out. Okay, on the count of three, we don't say his name, but he do his action.
Okay, Ken, let's do that.
You know.
Yeah,
okay.
I know the action.
All right. 1, 2, 3. Yes. The Ugandan, was he the Ugandan giant?
Ugandan giant, yeah.
Yeah, Kamala.
I love Kamala Harris.
Yeah.
I love Kamala.
Wrong Kamala, bro. Wrong Kamala.
Wrong Kamala.
Yes.
Not Kamala Khan as well, sorry.
No, Kamala as in the Ugandan giant back in the day.
You know what?
I
I don't like the fact that he's in the Legacy and not a standalone Hall of Fame. Yeah.
He was a huge part of my childhood in the 80s. He was always like that bad guy, right? And then at one point he became like a face. Like he was very poor thing face.
Wasn't he feuding with like Undertaker, Papa Shango? Like he was in that whole feud, right?
That quote unquote mystical universe. Then he'll get super scared of Undertaker.
Ultimate Warrior with the goo. I have images of what and there was a period in the 2000s where he always called back as like a legend. It was always him, Roddy Piper, Snuka. I mean, of course, he predates my time, but his face is so iconic, like his whole presentation, right? I just thought that he would have deserved like a standalone Hall of Fame induction as opposed to being grouped in the Legacy. I don't think he's that old to be given that spot. And I've heard some sad news like in his later years. Apparently he got diabetes or something that forced him he had to amputate his legs, right?
Yes, correct.
And so I just wish that it's a bit late lah. Like he should have been given his flowers way earlier when he was still alive. And I do hope that more people learn about Kamala, because bro, if you watch early New Generation era with Undertaker and all that, Kamala was a huge part, like you said.
Yeah, he was there a lot, right? So they're doing something new as well this year, and it kind of makes sense because at the end of the day, you'll start running out of people to induct, huge names to induct into the Hall of Fame, and with this new category, wow, there are a lot of people to re-induct, as it were. Of course, I'm talking about the immortal moment.
Yeah, I love this concept because, right, like you said, right, you can only induct like Bret Hart, Shawn Michaels so many times as a person, right? But then 50 years later, right, you do not want people to forget about Bret Hart's legacy. So the best way to continue that is to have his matches, right?
Exactly. And as the very first immortal moment, I mean, you know how much I love Bret Hart. You know how much I love this match, one of my favorite matches of all time. I would 100% agree that this should be the first.
Yep. I love it as well. And I thought that for this generation of wrestlers, like for example, there will have been a generation of wrestlers that would have said like it should have been Hulk Hogan versus Andre the Giant. That should have been an iconic moment, right?
Yes.
But for this generation of wrestlers who care a lot about work rate, who care a lot about the art and the storytelling of pro wrestling, this match would have been like number one.
And do you think it was also done very strategically? Because talking about like when this match happened, right? This would have been the match a lot of us grew up in terms of it was right in between New Generation and the Attitude Era. This was essentially the birth of Stone Cold Steve Austin.
Correct. So this would have been where more modern audiences would have remembered like their first big wrestling moment, right? I mean, iconic, right? The blood gushing down Stone Cold's face.
Yeah, squeezing blood from a stone. That was the t-shirt that was super popular. And then it was Bret Hart turning kind of like he was turning heel, right?
Yeah. What do you think about the inductor in this situation, CM Punk? Because some of them were saying that, it would have been perfect if it was Ken Shamrock, right? Because Ken was the referee at that point in time. But for me personally, I'm a CM Punk fan, of course.
Yeah.
And we all know how much CM Punk respects Bret Hart, respects Stone Cold.
Yeah,
he was fans of both of them. So in terms of like a current modern star to kind of bridge the gap for fans to learn about this match, I think it's a great choice, lah.
Yeah, and like, as a fan, like I love that they picked this match, but you can kind of really to go back to what I was saying earlier, right? Like the strategic placement of this match at this point in history, I think it's all very much well thought out.
Yeah, yeah. And I would say that now it opens the doors, right, for a wrestler to be multiple time
Wow.
inductees.
Isn't Bret Hart like first third timer or something like that?
Yeah, this is his third one. I
This
tell you,
will
he
be
still
third.
got how many more matches he
Correct.
bro, Shawn Michaels and Bret Hart.
Yeah. And then Kurt Angle is going to come in. He's going to have a ton more. This could go
Yeah.
on forever. But yeah, it's just smart business, business wise, and in terms of honoring these classic matches. So there you go.
Yeah. I wonder what the Hall of Famers get other than the ring. Do they get like money? What do they get?
10,000, I don't know. I have no idea.
Yeah. Oh, so Jose, I remembered last time Channel 5 show on TV late night, but got cut many times. I am
Yeah.
boring, sia. Suddenly match ends with black and white blood.
Bro, we all remember those times, man.
Yeah.
Back then I didn't even get Raw or SmackDown. We got like Velocity and Heat, and I would watch it on a Saturday night. You know, just to
I
see the
remember
clips.
I remember those days when it was WWE Afterburn, WWE
Yeah.
Bottom Line, and you
Yeah.
have what Jonathan Coachman giving like a recap of the matches.
Yep.
Yeah. That's actually what inspired or started my like collection, WWE VCD DVD collection, because I was like so annoyed that I couldn't get the full matches. I actually hunt down, all these VCD shop, Pokim and all that.
Pokim made a lot of money from us, bro.
Bro, every time they show
Pokim.
wrestling on the Tampines Linkway, like the interchange.
Always got crowd. Always
got crowd to watch wrestling, bro. So like, yeah. So those were the days, lah. Like in a sense, like, because those are the matches that I watched. I remember Bret Hart. I think one of the first DVDs that I bought, bro, like was a random WCW pay-per-view. I think it was sold out or something like that. I remember Bret Hart was like challenging for the title, and here's the thing, because at that point in time, like Bret Hart already went to WCW, right? So I had no context about Montreal screw job, blah blah blah. You know what was my first memory of Bret Hart? You will not link it, bro. It was like a bit no link.
Okay, what?
Remember the TV show back in the day, Malcolm in the Middle?
Oh my god, yes. He was yes, I remember the episode.
Not only the episode, he was in the intro, like TV intro scene for the show. Right, like at the start of every episode, they will have like the episode intro, and there will be the scene of Bret Hart doing the sharpshooter on Chris Benoit, and that's like part of the scene. So I was like, why is there wrestling on this TV show? And that's how I knew about Bret Hart. So lots of memories for me as a like a long time fan. And one last thing I wanted to say was I love reading. I would consider myself a bookworm, and one of my favorite things to do is read wrestling biographies.
Yes.
Hands down, my favorite wrestling biography, one of the first ones that I bought or actually borrowed from the National Library of all things, was Bret Hart's biography called My Cartoon Life in Pro Wrestling. It was released in 2006, 2007. Bro, amazing, bro. Amazing. I think I learned so much about pro wrestling just from reading his book. I learned that fella had a lot of affairs on the road, by the way.
Wow.
A bit of a naughty guy. But, generally, I think it was a great snapshot of wrestling during that period.
I rewatched this match recently, actually, because of the Hall of Fame induction. And you know what? As far as matches goes, this match still holds up. In 2025, you watch it, can't find any fault with it.
Bro, not only just the match, right? Remember the breakdown that Bret Hart and Stone Cold did with the Broken Skull sessions?
Yes.
I love the analysis of it. And you know what? I wish more wrestlers, like, they really need to watch this as part of their training. I think every wrestler, not just America, like all the wrestlers in Singapore, I hope you guys watch it as part of your training. Not because like you have to do the move for move, but it's really the psychology of the wrestling in that match.
Yes. Why they're doing what they're doing. And they weren't doing anything outlandishly crazy. Yeah, there was a shot with the bell to the head, and apparently Stone Cold felt nothing.
Yeah. Like amazing, right?
And that's why I think, no, it's not why I think. I know for a fact that that's why so many wrestlers look up to Bret Hart. And it's always been something that he's been very proud of. He never hurt a single person in the ring, but he made everything look good.
Exactly.
And now you have the exact opposite in AEW. Everything looks fake as fuck, but they're hurting each other. For real. Like, that's not wrestling. That's not pro wrestling, the art.
Yeah. I mean, I love Bret Hart's philosophy. I tell you, if every wrestler approached it with that, like, my job in the ring is to take care of you, but we will
make it look good.
Make it look super good, super realistic. I think we've done our job, right?
Yes, exactly.
And you as a viewer, you want to watch wrestling and not worry that someone is really hurt.
Yeah, yeah. While also suspending the disbelief that they are working together. You know?
Yes, exactly.
Oh yeah, oh no is right.
Okay,
Let's
okay,
talk
let's get
about
back on track.
the group, the tag team that are being inducted, the natural disasters.
Mm,
Okay, I remember. Okay, so obviously the natural disasters, earthquake and typhoon, my era, like 80s golden era of wrestling, right? They were all like, look at them. They
yeah,
were the very prototypical heel tag team that would
yeah.
dominate. Oh, do you remember Earthquake's finisher?
Bro, this is before my time, bro. But
Bro,
yeah,
it
what is
was
it?
like when I think back on it, like how dumb is it? But I don't know, like as a kid, it made sense, right? It's literally just I believe it was I can't remember if it was a body splash or a leg drop, but it was the setup that was cool. Because, imagine your opponent on the mat, right?
Yep.
Earthquake would jump around the prone carcass of his opponent to simulate an earthquake because the ring would shake what. So he would be like,
He will just
boom,
run. He will run around,
no, he just jump around the guy like boom.
and then the guy sells it.
Yeah, no, he doesn't sell it lah because the whole ring will shake ma.
Oh shit! So wait, do they make the ring like just extra bouncy just so they can reflect it, or what's
No
going
lah,
on?
I think he's just that heavy lah.
Oh my god, that's
You know,
hilarious.
and
That's
then
fucking
after he
hilarious.
does the dong 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 dong, then he drop a splash.
Oh my god, bro. You know what? So host, you just brought up a great point. My memory of Quake is not from WWE.
Wait. Shockmaster was Typhoon though.
Wasn't it? Was John
No, wasn't
Tenta?
Earthquake.
John Tenta is Earthquake or Typhoon?
Tenta is Earthquake.
Ah, okay, okay. Wait,
Oddman
so
is Typhoon.
I see. So Shockmaster is Oddman,
Yes,
is
I
it?
believe Shockmaster was Typhoon.
I'm sorry, they're all interchangeable. They kind of look similar. Yeah, but yeah, I guess it predates my era, but I do remember again all the stories through Bret Hart's
Yeah.
book, thankfully, of his stories about Earthquake. So they felt like such a fun bunch, right? Like
Yeah,
so
yeah.
many crazy over the top cast of characters. Like when you think of wrestling as an oddball, like this was the era where everyone was kind of like an oddball, like larger than life,
Yeah.
right? So, yeah.
Cartoonish gimmicks. This was the era. Yeah, exactly.
Correct.
Yeah, and then he was Tugboat. I don't know if you remember it as a face. Typhoon was Tugboat. You go poop poop.
Bro,
The era, bro. It's the era.
how we sit through that shit. I mean, like it's like a Saturday morning cartoon, lah. I would say,
No,
lah.
it was very much geared towards kids. And as a kid, of course, you'd be like, hey, baby.
Yeah,
Oh.
yeah.
Yeah, like you like cool. You're like, wow, hey, very cute, very fun one. So yeah, of course, now when we watch it, that's like,
Bro, I watched Hi-Fi and I loved it, bro.
Yeah.
No regrets, bro. No
There you
regrets.
go. So the natural disasters will be inducted, and then we got Lex Luger.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Lex Luger was interesting because I think a lot of people were more interested in who was going to be inducting him.
Yes.
Yeah, but now that's cleared up. It's not going to be Sting. It's going to be DDP. Now we can at least can focus on Lex Luger.
What do you remember most about Lex Luger? It's been talked about a lot, right? Like, but I try to remember it from when I was a kid experiencing it, as opposed to, like now as an adult and all the documentaries have come out. Like, I genuinely remember liking him more as the narcissist because it fit him so much better. Say what you want about Hulk Hogan and his All-American gimmick, right? Like, only he could have pulled it off because that's what they tried to do with Lex Luger. With the Lex Express, the bus, he would go around America, shake hands, kiss babies, that kind of thing. What Hulk Hogan was doing, but people were just not buying it anymore.
Here's the thing about Lex, because again, his run in WWE was predated my time, right?
Yeah.
So my first memories of him was really Lex in WCW, right?
Yeah.
So again, like you're right. Like I'm trying to base on just my memory as a child, like watching him in WCW. I just thought he was kind of cool, but kind of like slimy as a character.
Yeah.
Like he felt like he reminds me a bit of John Berntal, like his aura. Like he was a bit of this rugged guy. I think he was in the NWO at that point in time, and then he was kind of with Elizabeth. So he felt like this very dirty late 90s couple.
Just to go to that comparison, John Bernthal, to me, has a very caring aura. Like, I don't think that Lex has. That's why he couldn't cut it as a face, Like, John Bernthal, like, he's, like, rough, he's crazy, he's acting nuts, but it feels like he will always come and protect you, like a big brother,
Okay, I get what you mean. I guess I'm guessing more of, like, his Punisher kind of character. Like, he just don't give a fuck, kind of, like. Even as a child, I could get the vibe that he doesn't give a fuck. Like, he was just there.
Yeah.
kind of doing his thing.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Yes, and Lex had a storyline, and I don't know how much was real, but thanks for reminding me, Sir Hus, where he had a metal plate in his arm.
Ooh, I'm
Yeah,
not can't remember this
like he
storyline.
broke his forearm or something like that, so they put in a metal plate. And as a heel, obviously he would knock people out with his forearm. What that was his whole,
Yeah.
like he had a narcissist gimmick. Then he had the forearm thing,
Mm.
but it didn't work for whatever reason. As a face, he just didn't have the Hulk Hogan charisma to pull it off. So
Yeah.
say what you
Yeah.
want about Hulk. At that point, he was the right guy with the right charisma. Lex
Yeah,
was
yeah.
not the guy. He was much better as a heel.
Yeah, Lex, I think, is more well known for his heel persona, his physique, and I thought he represented WCW as his world champion quite well. Like I
Yep.
don't remember he was not a world champion in WWE, right? Because
No.
he
Yes, he was.
was he
No. Wait, I'm trying to think.
no, because I know that period him and Bret Hart was like supposed to main event the WrestleMania X, right?
Yeah,
WrestleMania
yeah.
10. But I think he always challenged, but he never won it,
He
right?
never won it. Yeah.
Yeah,
I
but then
think the
yeah.
crowd just never bought into him enough.
Yeah, he became a champion in WCW, and I thought that fit him better. Like he looks good with the big gold belt, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, and of course, I think that's my memory of him. Of course, after he left wrestling, he all his drama and demons and all that controversies after the fact.
Yep.
I think he kind of slipped off my memory. When I reconnected with Lex Luger, the crazy thing was I completely forgot about him until when WWE a few years ago announced that he had this Icons, the WWE Icons documentary on the WWE Network.
Yeah.
And then when I found out that he's actually wheelchair bound and I found out about his paralysis, I was like, wow. Like if I were to put myself in his shoes, right, bro,
Yeah.
I imagine you're like super jacked and like your whole life you are like this alpha guy, and then now you're bedridden or like wheelchair bound. And then suddenly you talk about like him being humbled by religion and all that. I was like, wow, he has so much grace to be able to, be positive in his current situation, because his quality of living essentially has been nerfed, right? Completely.
Yeah.
Yeah, so a lot of respect for him.
Who's brings up a good point as well. He just slammed Yokozuna. That was his highlight in WWF.
Yes, he did.
On some warship, right? I remember correctly.
Yeah.
So that was his Hogan slamming Andre moment lah. Him slamming
see.
Yokozuna.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, again, like I would say he is a very memorable era. Like he was a memorable presence in the era of the new generation for sure. And I think he definitely deserves a place in the Hall of Fame. But my main thing is, I think what is gonna be the most lasting impression from him is, I think, his very inspiring story in the Hall of Fame.
That's true.
Can you imagine, bro? Because I saw his interview with Chris Van Vliet and like his DDP stuff. He's trying to stand. So he has been training that he can stand from his wheelchair. So can you imagine the pop he will get if he actually stands up from his wheelchair and walks? I think it's bigger than Linda McMahon standing up at WrestleMania 17.
Oh
bro.
my God! What? That's not even a fair comparison.
No. This is a wrestling comparison.
Jeez. Yeah. Okay, but yeah, it will be interesting lah to definitely see him at the Hall of Fame. Okay, the second last one, she is a bit of a, I don't say controversial, but some people have said that, oh, she's only here because she's the wife of Mark, aka The Undertaker, Michelle McCool. Okay, for Michelle, I feel like I have to defer more to you because that was during the time I stopped watching already, right? Like I do remember her here and there. I wasn't really watching WWE when it was like, her and Layla. With
Layla.
Broken title. They each held half of the title or some bullshit like that.
You remember that? So that's actually quite a big moment.
I don't remember it because I watched it. I remember it because I saw it in highlights. And it always came across hokey because the whole setup was them pulling the title and then it breaks apart. But it breaks apart in this perfect, obviously it was cut.
You know what? When it comes to these female inductions, I'm going to grade it on a curve, right? When I say that, is because I love my Tori Wilson, I love my Stacey Keeblers, right? But for me, that's like the minimum entry point. If you can have a better career than any of these two girls, you're Hall of Fame worthy. So so based on that grading curve, right?
Yeah.
Michelle McCool has been, Divas champion. She has been women's champion. So technically, I would say she deserves it based on the fact that Tori Wilson and Stacey Keebler is in it.
When you put it that way, I actually agree with you. That makes a lot of sense.
Yeah. Yes. Okay. And I'll try to give some flowers to her, right? Okay. Like even before, her dating Undertaker, because let's be clear, she only started dating Undertaker when she was really kind of leaving the business really.
Mm.
So she had a good 3, 4, 5 year solid run as like a top women star on her own, married,
Yep.
right?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Uh, she was like one of the faces of the PG era women's division, the Divas era. Like it was her, it was Melina, it
Mm.
was Beth Phoenix. Like there was this rotating cast, right? And she was always on top. And I thought what was good about her gimmick. I mean, even when she was before she joined Layla and did Lay Cool, right? She had a bit of this like I would say like badass vibe to her.
Yep.
Like she was a bit of on the skinnier side, but like she was very vicious.
Mm.
So I thought like her and Melina and Beth Phoenix felt like worthy main eventers in that scene of other like I wouldn't say Eve Torres is like the best or
Yep.
like Candice Michelle, you know what I mean? So if you're wrestling in that field of wrestlers, right? Of course somebody like Michelle McCool is like
It's
okay, she's can be a top
standing out
star.
lah. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean she definitely is like Kelly but can wrestle kind of
Yeah.
thing, you know?
I'm trying to think, right? Is there a generation of wrestlers before her that haven't been inducted into the Hall of Fame? Because yeah, at the end of the
A
day, right,
lot.
it's a much smaller pool. Like they won't have this problem in 20 years' time because there
Yep.
are, the number of women wrestlers has increased, right? Women's wrestling has grown. But in that era, obviously it was a lot less.
Oh,
Much less if you go before that.
bro, for sure. I there's a couple that has slipped through the cracks that deserves a title, like a
Who?
recognition, right? Ivory, right?
Oh,
Victoria.
Ivory is not Victoria is not in the Hall of Fame.
No, not yet.
Oh
Yeah.
shit, yeah.
The Molly Holly has been.
Yes, no.
I believe. Wait, there was one more that has been. Was Ivory? No, not.
Mickey
I
James
can't.
have, right?
Not yet. Mickey J hasn't been yet. So
What?
there are still a couple more that
Yeah.
haven't got to. Okay, put a button on Ivory. Those who are in the chat, if you guys are aware, can double check. I don't know whether Ivory has been. I
I know
have a feeling.
Jacqueline has been.
Yeah, Jacqueline has been. It's for my brain is like trying to recall, like trying to dig up,
Yeah,
the
yeah.
process. Maybe Ivory might have.
Mm,
Yeah, but definitely, Molly Holly has as well.
right.
Yeah, but Victoria has not, which I think is a serious
Ivory
error
have,
there.
bro. Ivory have.
Okay, Ivory have great.
So
That's
I'm
great.
looking at the list right now. Beth, Trish, Tori, Ivory, Sherry, Bella Twins, Mula, Charmel, Lita, Wendy Richter, Jacqueline, Alundra Blaze, China, May Young, Bull Nakano, Molly, Holly, Stacy Keebler.
Yep. So again, like there are a couple there that I think still deserve.
Mickey James.
Mickey James, yeah, Mickey James definitely needs to be there. Do you think? Okay, what about Melina? Is there a case for Melina?
I feel like you should clear Mickey James and the ones
Victoria
that
first.
Victoria first. Then you bring in Melina.
Okay,
so
fine,
Melina can
fine.
wait a few more years.
Yeah. Okay, so I would say grading on a curve. I think Michelle McCool's what she did definitely she predates the Bella twins. So if
Yeah.
Bella twins got it, damn it, Michelle McCool deserves it.
Yeah.
And,
Jazz. Jazz is another one.
Oh yeah, Jess. Okay, good for her. Jess hasn't been, right?
No. Awesome Kong.
No, okay. Awesome Kong would get into the TNA Hall of Fame, but
Not so much WWE, right?
WWE,
Yeah.
she just cup of coffee as karma. Never do anything else.
Right. True.
Yeah. And you know what? I wish Layla was given her flowers. I don't know whether Layla would get in the Hall of Fame, but I think she should at least be there present.
I'm surprised that okay, I'm not surprised, but there could have been an argument to have Layla induct Michelle, right?
Yes, I would say it would have made more sense for Layla to do it because what the hell is Undertaker going to talk about the wife? He's just going to talk about her as a wife, not as a wrestler. I don't know.
Well, they need star power at this Hall of Fame ceremony, so Undertaker star power maybe.
Yeah. You know what, if it was Layla inducting Michelle, right? I think the fans would have gone easier on this induction, in my opinion.
Yeah, I think so. I agree. Okay, and then of course we come to the main event of the Hall of Fame this year. Paul Levesque, Triple H, inducted by his best buddy Shawn Michaels. I mean, this one is a no-brainer, right? And especially what he's done, not just as a wrestler, but now in the past 2 years in the Levesque era. Like, hell yeah, bro.
Bro, I think it's hilarious, right? Because like once you become the guy in charge, like remember Cody Rhodes had this problem. Okay, I'm the guy in charge. I do not want to be the champion. I don't want to be the face. I do not want to be given my flowers. But because it's Triple H and now they are in a public, like a part of a bigger conglomerate with TKO, he can be given the flowers where it doesn't come across as like him just shook sendiri, you know,
patting himself in the back.
Yeah.
No. And they did the whole thing where they surprised him. So I it was a nice touch. And like you said, like it's a lot of okay, let's do that so that it doesn't feel like he's inducting himself.
Correct. And you know what? I think, bro, like the fact that The Rock is not in the Hall of Fame is wild to me as well.
Yeah.
But
No,
I think
but again, he deserves it. I don't care. Even if he induct himself, I'm like, sure, yes, he absolutely deserves it.
for
Especially
sure.
from the past, it could be argued that because of Triple H taking over and the storylines that he's built up, right? That TKO's investment was actually like, oh, it's a positive thing. I can't imagine if Vince McMahon was still running it and then this TKO thing happened.
Yeah.
They would be going global, but the product is shit.
Yeah. Triple H actually is responsible for this current era in wrestling.
Yeah.
If you go even way back to his time in NXT, right? Building the next generation of talents. And then the fact that, he has kind of guided a lot of the women's revolution, because a lot of the stuff that happened in NXT with them pushing Sasha, Charlotte, Bailey, all came from Triple H, right?
Yeah.
So I would say, just in terms of impact and influence alone, he is the most influential person in all of pro wrestling, at least in the last decade, right?
Yep.
So I think, and that's not even counting his wrestling career. That's wild, right?
Yeah,
he has such a big, legacy in pro wrestling as a wrestler, and then now he's creating this big legacy as like a executive, as the guy steering the visionary behind WWE for the next few decades, right, going forward. So that alone, I think he deserves 2 Hall of Fames.
Yeah, and he does. Yeah, and he has 2 Hall of Fame rings. He's going to have 2 Hall of Fame rings and probably a third in the future.